Hello student, welcome to my channel Audiobooks. Geography, Chapter 1st, Population, Part 1. Geography studies human and their interaction with their environments. The study of population is a part of human geography under a branch called population geography. Population geography studies human population and its distribution and pattern on the Earth's surface. Their qualitative and quantitative composition is also studied in this chapter. The way population influence the economy and the development of a region are also point of study in a geography. In this chapter, we will study human as a resource. Distribution of population. Observe the pie chart shown in figure 1.1 carefully and answer the following questions. Percentage of total land mass and population distribution. 29.20% of Asia, 9.20% Antarctica, 20.40% landmass of Africa, 5.90% landmass of Australia, 6.80% landmass of Europe, 12% landmass of South America, 16.50% landmass of North America. This is the total percentage of landmass and population distribution over the landmass. 59.65% Asia, 16.96% Africa, 0.55% Australia, and 4.75% Europe, 8.40% South America, 9.69% North America. Which continent has the least population? Yes, it is Australia. Australia has the least population 0.55. Which continent has the least landmass and also the least population? Yes, it's also Australia. It has least landmass and least population. Which continent has the most landmass as well as the most population? Of course, it's Asia. Most landmass and most population. Which continent is missing in one of the pie chart and why? Antarctica, because there is no population. Antarctica has no population or less population. Human population is unevenly distributed throughout the world. In the year 2019, the world's population stands to be around 7.7 billion. Continent-wise population distribution is as follows. North and South America, that account for around 28% of the landmass, barely support 18% of the population. Asia occupies about 30% of the landmass and supports 60% of the population. Europe has around 7% land and supports 5% of the population. Australia has around 6% of the world's land but does not even support 1% of the population. Africa occupies 20 to 40% land but supports 16.96% population of the world. Antarctica occupies around 9% of the landmass but has no permanent human settlement. This distribution of land and population can be better understood not just in terms of number living in region but also in terms of people living in a unit area. This is called population density. Density of population is equal to total population upon total area in square kilometer. Table 1.1 shows the 10 most populated countries in the world in 2018 with their areas. Calculate their population densities and complete the table. Table 1.1 rank country population in crores, approx area in lakh square kilometer, population density. We have to calculate population density. China. Population is 142.8 crore and area is 96 lakh square kilometer. Its population density is 148.75. India. Population is 135.3 crore and area is 32.9 lakh square kilometer. Its density is 411.25. USA. Population is 32.7 and area is 95.3. Its density is 34.32. Indonesia. Population is 26.8 crore and area is 19.1 lakh square kilometer. Its density is 148.31. Pakistan. Population is 21.2 crore and area is 8.9 lakh square kilometer. Density is 238.2. Brazil. Population is 20.9 crore and area is 85.2 lakh square kilometer. Its density is 24.53. Nigeria. Population is 19.6 crore and area is 9.2 lakh square kilometer. Its density is 213.04. Bangladesh has population 16.1 crore and area is 1.5 lakh square kilometer. Its density is 1073.33. Russia. Population is 14.6 and area is 171 lakh square kilometer. Its density is 8.54. Mexico. Population is 12.6 crore and area is 19.7 lakh square kilometer. Density is 63.96. Patterns of population distribution in the world. Looking at the pie chart given in figure 1.1 and table 1.1 together, we can conclude the following. We find that population and population densities both are unequally distributed in the world. When you look at the region with large populations, it is explicitly visible. Patterns of population distribution and density help us to understand the demographic characteristics of any area. The term population distribution refers to the way people are spaced over the Earth's surface. Make friends with maps. Look at the map in figure 1.2, compare it with the physical map of the world given in the book on page 83. Try to understand the impact of physical factors on population distribution. Complete the table accordingly. One has been done for you as an example. Table 1.2. Continent North America. Physical factor responsible for high population. Physical factor responsible for less population or no population. You have to complete this table. Next, when we compare the distribution of world population with the physical factors, we observe the following points. Snow-covered regions around the north and south poles are sparsely populated. Even hot deserts have low population. The mountainous and hilly regions are also less populated. Coastal regions and plains are highly populated. In some river valleys, like the Amazon, population is sparsely distributed. It means that there are factors other than physical factors like forest that influence population distribution. Can you tell? Can you think of the factor beside physiography which affect the distribution of population? Make a list. Geographical factors affecting population distribution. Here are some physical and human factors affecting the distribution of population. Fill in the suitable example of countries or a region in the table 1.3. Two examples have been solved for your convenience. Table 1.3. Physical human factors. High density, low density. Relief. Flat, lowland. Example Ganges plains have high density of population. Mountainous areas like Himalayas have low density of population. Climate, availability of resource, economic, social, government policies, cultural. In the economic, business and financial center have high density of population. Example Tokyo. Low economic growth. Example Louisiana have low density of population. Geographical explanation. Following factor determine population distribution. Physical factors. Relief, landforms. Population is densely distributed on flat plains and gentle slopes. This is because such areas are favorable for production of crops. In these areas, it is easier to build roads and develop industries. The mountainous and hilly region tends to be less populated. If means of livelihood are available, population can be concentrated in a few such areas. For example, Dehradun, Leh, etc. Thus, it can be concluded that plateaus or mountainous areas are less populated than plains. Second, climate. Extreme climates such as very hot or cold desert or a region with very heavy rainfall are uncomfortable for human habitation. They have less population. Areas with an equable climate where there is not much seasonal variation attract more people. Mediterranean regions were inhabited due to their pleasant climate. In cold climates, only people like the Eskimos and Lapps, who are highly adapted to such climates, have lived in these regions. Vast Equatorial areas of Amazon, lowland, and Congo Basin are very sparsely populated due to their unfavorable climate. Find out, are Eskimos still living in their conventional way? What changes can be seen in their lifestyle now? Third, availability of water. It is the most important factor for life for all living beings, including man. So, people prefer to live in areas where fresh or potable water is easily available. You will find that easily through the map in figure 1.2. It is because of this that river valleys and coastal areas are among the most densely populated areas of the world. For example, Nile Valley and coastal plains of India are one of the most densely populated areas of the world. In desert too, population is found near oases. For example, Faludi from Thar Desert and Al Alsa from Saudi Arabia have developed around oases. Use your brain power. Can leg be use your brain power? Can legs be a factor for concentration of population? Find out example. Which water bodies are surrounded by dense population in Maharashtra? Soil. Fertile soil are important for agricultural and allied activities. Therefore, areas which have fertile loamy soil have more people living on them, as these can support intensive agriculture. The flood plains of the river Mississippi and the Ganga, the Irrawaddy, the Yangtze are example of areas having high density of population. Similarly, areas having regular or black soil are also densely populated. The slope and foothill of many volcanoes have high densities of population as their slopes are covered with fertile volcanic soil. The slopes and the foothills of volcano in Java, Japan, Sicily, and Central America support many people. If a dormant volcano erupts someday, these settlements may face disaster. They may face economic losses and loss of life. For example, figure 1.3 shows people leaving their places after an eruption in Mount Agung in Bali. Human factors, agriculture. Increase in agricultural production due to use of fertilizers and irrigation make it possible to support more population. Type of agriculture, crop grown, method of cultivation, and specialization of particular crops are other characteristics of agriculture that affect the distribution of population. Do map activity related to figure 1.4. Second, mining. Areas with a good quality mineral deposits attract industries. Mining and industrial activities generate employment. So skilled and semi-skilled workers move to these areas and make them densely populated. Katanga Copper Belt in Zambia and the Chota Nagpur Plateau in India, coal and iron fields of Western Europe, the Manchurian region of China and the Appalachian mountains of USA are examples where population is dense due to availability of minerals. Some minerals are highly valuable and they are extracted despite odd physical conditions. In such areas, population may be dense. This is true for precious and rare minerals like gold and mineral oil. For example, gold mines area in Australian desert, mineral oil in the desert region of Southwest Asian countries. Look at satellite image given in figure 1.5. This shows the same area from two different periods. What difference do you see? What might have caused these changes? Discuss in class. In year 2005 and the same area in year 2019. Third factor is transportation. After studying the satellite image in figure 1.5, you may find that roads or highways may increase the population here. Such regions are easy to access because of roads, thus increase in density. On the contrary, if accessibility is difficult, it takes more time and is costlier to reach there. Then the region is sparsely populated. Figure 1.5 clearly shows that the population density has increased as a highway passes through this area. Sea transport leads to the discovery of new places. Port cities got developed. The population grew there due to trade. For example, construction of Suez Canal increased the exchange for raw materials and goods. Therefore, the population appears to be concentrated in coastal regions. Western and eastern coastal regions of India, the western and eastern coastal regions of the United States are examples. Urbanization. The growth of industries is responsible for the development of towns and cities. Tertiary activities like transportation, trade, and other services also increase in order to cater to the need of the growing urban population. Cities offer better employment opportunities, educational and medical facilities, better means of transport and communication. In many areas of the world, a continuous urban belt is found. For example, Greater Mumbai. Fifth, political factor and government policies. Beside all the above factors, the policies of the various governments also affect the population distribution and density. A government may choose to promote population in an area or depopulate it. For example, the government promote human settlement in parts of Siberia by giving more opportunities and special incentives. For example, in Japan, the government is giving incentives to people to leave Tokyo, as about one third of Japan lives in Tokyo. Let's recall which policies did the Brazilian government promote with respect to decentralization. Beside these factors, other factors like distance from the sea coast, accessibility, natural harbors, source of energy, navigable rivers or canals, cultural factors, migration, economic activities, technology, etc. affect distribution of population in the world. Adverse physical condition and lack of sufficient opportunities for means of livelihood are mainly responsible for discouraging inhabitation in certain areas. Components of population change. People of one region differ from other. People can be distinguished by their age, sex, and their place of residence. Some of the other distinguishing these attributes of the population are occupation, education, and life expectancy. Let us first understand the various aspects of population. Population growth. Look at the figure 1.6 and answer the question that follows. What does the image shows? What happens to the population when deaths are more than births? What happened to the population when births are more than deaths? What happens when both are same? It is possible. Population growth or a population change refers to the change in number of inhabitants of territory during a specific period of time. The change may be positive, that is growth, or negative, that is decline. It can be expressed either in terms of absolute numbers or in terms of percentage. Population change in an area is an important indicator of economic development. It can be an indicator of social upliftment. For example, poverty can be reduced if population reduces. There are three components of population change: birth, death, and migration. Crude birth rate. Crude birth rate CBR is expressed as a number of live births in a year per thousand of population. For example, in 2019, there were 3,250 births in a city with population of 2,23,000. Therefore, CBR is equal to 3,250 upon 2,23,000 multiplied by 1000. That is 14.57. So at that time, there were 14.57 live births for every 1000 people in the city. Crude death rate. Death rate plays an active role in population change. Population growth occurs not only by increasing birth rate but also due to decreasing death rate. Like CBR, CDR is expressed in terms of number of deaths in a particular year per thousand of population in a particular region. Give it a try. Can you calculate the death rate in the above example if the total number of deaths in the city was 2,986 in the same year? On the basis of birth rate given earlier and death rate calculated by you, what change in population do you observe? Always remember, the crude birth rate or a death rate is considered crude. This is because it ignores the age structure of population. It doesn't take into account age group in the population that is actually able to give birth. Similarly, actual birth or death rate takes into account the population structure of a country. Birth rate and death rate will not be same for all age groups simultaneously. CBR, total number of live births in a year upon total population in that year multiplied by 1000. CDR, total number of death in a year upon total population in that year multiplied by 1000. Population growth is equal to present population minus earlier population. Population growth rate is equal to population growth upon earlier population multiplied by 100. Can you tell? Observe the table 1.4. Arrange the data in ascending order for a birth rate and death rate respectively. Country, birth rate, death rate. Sweden 11.5 and death rate is 9.1. India, birth rate is 18.1, death rate is 7.2. Greece, birth rate is 8.2, death rate is 11.6. China, birth rate is 12.4, death rate is 7.1. USA, birth rate is 11.8, death rate is 8.5. Niger, birth rate is 46.5, death rate is 8.5. Population growth and explosion. Population growth and explosion. You know that birth rates and death rates determine the growth or decline in the population. Based on this notion, try to complete the table 1.5, where different combination of birth rates and death rates are given. Discuss in the class and complete the table. One has been done for you as an example. Birth rate, death rate, effects on population growth. If birth rate is high, death rate and death rate is high, stable and low increase in population. If birth rate is high and death rate is decreasing, what happen? Maybe population increasing. Birth rate high, death rate low, birth rate decreasing, death rate also low, birth rate low, death rate low. You have to complete this table by your own. Give it a try. Stages, birth and death rate per 1000 people. High stationary, early expanding, late expanding, low stationary, decline. Look at the graph in figure 1.7 carefully. Answer the following questions. What do the blue and black lines shows? What does the green part of the graph shows? What does the blue part of the graph shows? In which stages is the birth rate more than death rate? In which stages the birth rate same as the death rate? In which stage is the death rate more than birth rate? Geographical explanation. Generally, a country experiences various stages in population growth. It never experiences the same rate of growth or decline. Along with the economic development, tendencies of birth rate and death rate are different. Hence, the growth rate of population also varies. The theory of demographic transition is based on the population trends of country with the time. According to this theory, a country passes through different stages of population growth. It may take several years to pass through a stage. They are as follows. Stage 1, high stationary stage. Both birth rates and death rates are high during this phase. So population growth is stable. Birth rates are high because having lots of children is considered to be a good idea. At this stage, the financial position of the country is not developed. It is dependent on agriculture or similarly primary occupation. This is high stationary stage. Birth rate and death rate both are high. Population is stable. People engaged in secondary and tertiary activities are negligible. Educational opportunities are limited. Fertility rates are high. Families are big. Science and technology are not developed. Low sanitation, high occurrence of contagious disease, lack of medical facilities, and malnutrition are responsible for high death rates. At present, no country falls in this category. Stage 2, early expanding stage. Technological expansion of science occurs and development starts. Therefore, medical and healthcare services start expanding. Efforts are underway to control and combat disease. This leads to a reduce in mortality, but the birth rate is constant. As a result, population grows rapidly. Production in agriculture and industry increases. Transportation network increases. Efforts to control the population are launched. Early expanding stage. Birth rate is stationary. Death rate is decreasing. This is early expanding stage. Birth rate is constant. Death rate is decreasing. And that's why population grows rapidly. The developing countries with high populations are currently undergoing this phase. This stage is also known as population explosion phase. Early expanding stage is also known as population explosion phase. It has the highest growth rate as shown in the figure 1.7. For example, countries like Congo, Bangladesh, Uganda, Niger, etc. are presently in this stage. Stage 3, late expanding stage. The reduced death rate in the second stage is still decreasing in the stage 2. Birth rates are also decreasing now. This reduces the rate of population growth. But the population is still growing because birth rates are higher than the death rates. As the progress in country is accelerating, the income of the people of the country is above the subsistence level. Their standard of living is elevated. Poverty is decreasing. Use of technology is seen to expand. Secondary and tertiary activities expand. Education level of the population also increases. People now know the importance of family planning. Family size reduces. Countries that are moving towards developed stage from developing are going through this stage. For example, China. This is late expanding stage. Birth rate is decreasing, death rate is stable, but the population is growing. Use your brain power. In which stage do you think India is passing right now? Stage 4, low stationary stage. The birth rate in the third stage now lowers. Further, the standard of living is very high. The economic condition of country and the economic status of the citizen improves. Lot secondary and tertiary occupation have a higher share than primary. Stage 4, low stationary stage. The birth rate in the third stage now lowers. Further, the standard of living is very high. The economic condition of the country and the economic status of the citizens improve a lot. Secondary and tertiary occupations have higher share than primary. The death rate is also very low as the base medical facility are available. Epidemics like cholera, plague, etc. have been eliminated. People are health conscious. The birth rate is not less than the death rate, but it is almost the same. Therefore, population growth is minimal. For example, developed countries like USA are going through this phase. This is low stationary stage. Birth rate is decreasing. That's why population also stable. Stage 5, declining stage. The birth rate is very low and almost equals the death rate. Population growth is minimal or in some countries could be negative. The population may be reduced because of higher mortality. In such countries, the number of children is very low and the elderly are very high. Standard of living is very high. The economic condition of the country and citizens is very good. Tertiary activities contribute the most out to the economy. High quality of educational and medical facilities are available. Healthy environment and pleasant life is preferred. Example Sweden, Finland, etc. Can you tell? Look at the figure 1.7 and answer. If the crude birth rate is 7 and the crude death rate is 8, then which stage of the demographics transition is the country in? If a country has a crude rate 20 and the crude birth rate is 24, then which stage of the demographics transition is the country in? Always remember, population composition. Composition of population cover all the characteristics of a population that can be measured. For example, rural and urban residents, age, marital status, sex ratio, etc. are the basis on which population can be classified to understand its characteristics. Population structure. Structure of population is the overall picture or the idea we get by studying the composition of the population. For example, age composition of the population tells us about the percentage of children, young and aged in the country. Population structure will give us an idea about the dependency ratio and the effect this composition will have on the economy and of the country. We will study about them in the next chapter. Thank you. If you like my audio, then subscribe my channel for more audiobooks.